you wonderful people. It's me, and I'm back again. And, well, most of you who tuned in last night will know that we had a few issues with my new setup. The audio was slightly out of sync with the video. So I wanted to take a little bit of time and hopefully sort all those little problems before I did the rest of the super chats. So fingers crossed it's all right now, and everything should be back up and running as it was before. So here I am. I'm definitely not wearing the same clothes as yesterday to make it look like I'm. And there's a bit of continuity here. No, sir. Anyway, before I get into the rest of the super chats, I really wanted to thank Orion Stark from last night. Like, he sent me a $500 super chat, which I think is some kind of record here on this channel. I mean, damn, man. Like, the generosity there just blows me away. I don't think I even commented on it at the time because I was a little bit distracted by, the technical issues I was having. I mean, obviously I replied to your super chat, mate, but yeah, I really just wanted to say, thank you for making such an incredibly generous donation. I really appreciate it. I mean, I appreciate all the super chats. Like, you guys are all, extremely generous, but like this guy went above and beyond on this one. So yeah, thank you very much, man. But yeah, I do have a few other ones that I still have to answer. So give me a second. I'll just see if I can get caught up. Um, let's see. Okay, I got about as far as yeah. Um, okay. Oh, I've done actually more than I thought. Um, yeah. Okay. I got about as far as Warrior Poet, who said, "Greetings from Hawaii. All this talk of Guinness. Would you ever review classics like The Quiet Man?" The Quiet Man. Is that a John Wayne one where he goes to Ireland and it's got like one of the longest punch ups in movie history? I think that's the one. In which case, yeah, I remember that one. It's pretty good. Um, yeah, I need to do more like old classics like that one, But yeah, that's a great bit of Irish fighting right there. Sarx said, "Hi, Drinker. I loved your channel since the Game of Thrones season 8 fiasco. Thank you very much, man. Yeah, that did me a lot of favors, I guess. At least something good came out of it for me." He says, "I wanted to know if you have ever been to Italy. Cheers." Yeah, I have indeed. I've only been to Rome, but yeah, man, that must have been about 10 years ago. Went there for like 3 or 4 days, so not a huge amount of time, but I managed to fit in as much sightseeing and drinking as possible in that time. And damn, just what an incredible city it is. I mean, you don't need me to tell you that Rome's a remarkable place. Like when you're walking past the Colosseum, and all these awesome buildings like the Vatican and all that, thousands of years old, and you're just a person walking by. It's pretty humbling to have that amount of history all around you. So yeah, I would love to go back there again. Yeah, I'm gonna take a proper look next time. Masked Jackal says, "Hey Drinker, would it be better for Terry Crews or Samuel L. Jackson to play Ariel in The Little Mermaid?" I honestly think Denzel Washington could probably nail it. Yeah, that's who I'd like to see in the role, for true diversity. I mean, they're all men, so I don't know if we can have men in roles like that now. It needs to be more diverse than that. So yeah, find me a black person who's non-binary, and then we're good to go, I would say. Maxwell JW says, "Thoughts on How to Train Your Dragon? It's one of my favorites, although my hopes aren't high for the newly announced live-action version." Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're swapping around all the characters on that one, naturally, because it's what we do nowadays. But yeah, I remember the first couple of movies being pretty good. Yeah, pretty heartfelt stuff. You know, guess like the story of like an underdog kind of rising up to try and gain recognition for himself and stuff, and ultimately making some pretty hefty sacrifices to protect other people. So yeah, they were pretty good from what I remember. I mean, yeah, I wasn't exactly a kid when they came out, so I kind of saw them in passing, but yeah, I remember them being all right. The animation looked really nice. The vocal performances were all good, so yeah, decent. Downskated says, "So does your new setup have a whiskey tap? Saves you having to open bottles in this drink-inducing time." I know I really need to get a tap just set up here. Instead of beer, just whiskey. Just ready to go. Pour myself a pint. Yeah, that needs to be the next gadget that's on the list, I would say. Bogham says, "Hey Drinker, please ask Mahler to do an EFAP with you on the Long Man in the High Castle." Thank you for your contribution. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Mahler's seen The Man in the High Castle. I saw first couple of episodes. I didn't like get super into it, although I normally like these like alternate history things. I think probably I just needed to give it a bit more time and attention because I'm reliably informed. It's pretty good, you know. So yeah, one day I will get back to it. I'm not sure if does it stick the landing. People can probably tell me in the comments afterwards. Yeah, I'm not sure how it ended. You know, I've not heard much about like the finale to it. Phil gave me 20 euros, so thank you very much, my friend. 3088 says, do you think the indie franchise could be revived if Lucasfilm took a James Bond approach, replacing the actor every 4 or 5 movies? I don't think so. I don't feel like the Indiana Jones movies are the sort of thing that can even get made today. You know, when I think back to Raiders of the Lost Ark or Last Crusade or even Temple of Doom, you know, movies that were accomplished with a lot of practical effects. Obviously, you've got someone like Spielberg helming it, George Lucas providing the ideas. You know, this was all spawned from the adventure serials that George Lucas watched as a kid, and having that background knowledge, having that first-hand experience of all of that stuff, I don't think you can replicate that nowadays because none of us lived through that. None of us watched 1950s adventure serials, you know, back in the day. We weren't alive back then, and so it's not going to have the same impact. And I just don't think we'd be able to bring that same experience to this character and to this world. And yeah, man, it just feels like they told a really good story with Indy as it was. He's not James Bond. He's not immortal. You know, he's very much meant to be a flesh and blood man. And there is continuity between the movies, or at least there used to be. So yeah, I don't want to see that. I think I would rather just see the character end. You know, just finish it. It finished with Last Crusade, as far as I'm concerned. It was a great way to send him off, riding off into the sunset, reconciled with his father. Yeah, that was fine for me. And move on to other stuff. You know, come up with new ideas. Stop dredging up all these old franchises and these old characters. It's done. The Peter C1 says, favorite authors or authors who influenced you? I mean, I guess the obvious one would be something like Tolkien. You know, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't read Lord of the Rings multiple times as a kid. Yeah, there's movies like, books like that, like fantasy novels, just really gripped me as like teenage me. Yeah, I love the unbound imagination of it, like just going to a completely different world. I read quite a lot of sci-fi books when I was a kid. They're all going to be like, you know, obscure authors that no one's ever heard of and that I can't even remember because I read like so many of them. You know, they kind of like came and went in my mind, but like they all just built up this gradual appreciation and this love for science fiction and fantasy. So yeah, I mean those, I guess that whole genre is just the biggest influence on me growing up. So yeah, that would probably be my main one, I guess. Victor says, will Tatiana ever be on the stream? Well, I don't know if you guys could handle her, so I'm not sure. Watch this space. Phil says, are you into Korean movies? I Saw the Devil is probably the greatest thriller I've ever seen. I'm completely obsessed with it. I wish I was more into Korean like movies. I wish I had better knowledge of like, you know, Chinese, Japanese, Indonesian, Korean movies because yeah, it's a huge genre. I just haven't had the background experience of it yet. I did recommend. I think this is a Korean horror TV show called All of Us Are Dead to Mahler. Eventually, I'm going to get him to watch it because I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was good. And yeah, it's a zombie outbreak in like a city, but it's kind of focused around a high school for the most part, and you know the students getting gradually picked off. It's absolutely brutal, and you know no one's got plot armor, and also yeah, like they've got really impressive scenes just from a technical point of view, like long continuous takes, lots of like fight sequences, great choreography, and I think the actors give really good performances. So it's yeah, really good show. The Astro Nerd Boy says, testing feedback. The audio and video are out of sync and there's some stuttering in the video. Yeah, that's obviously a problem I was wrestling with last night. Hopefully it's resolved now. Like I say, it definitely can't be the PC because it's like brand new and it's way better than my old one. So if it was anything at all, it was the internet connection then. But I've made some changes to like my setup as well, like my router and stuff and how the Ethernet cables are laid out. So, you know, fingers crossed it's going to be okay, and it's going to be okay for open bar, because that's really the reason I did this test last night, to make sure that I've got all these problems ironed out, because I really don't want the connection to die in front of 10,000 people. So hopefully this has been enough. Walking Corpse says, thanks for all your work. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate that. Jelperman says, what do you and Echo Chamberlain have against redhead chicks with big asses like the one from Star Trek? I thought it was just a stereotype that British dudes were pickle kissers who disliked redheads. Hey man, I'm Scottish. I've got nothing against redheads. Not a huge fan of lard arses though. I think it's just the fact that they tried to push that Tilly character in Discovery so hard. It just makes me makes me dislike her even more. I mean, nothing against the actress. Maybe she's a perfectly nice person, but yeah, in something like that, Star Trek, it kind of feels like you should have physical requirements, particularly from your young cadets and stuff. I'll overlook Jimmy Doohan in his later years, who got quite rotund. Yeah, he was about 65 years old. What can you do? Max Rovensky says, cheers, drunkard. I need advice. I'm writing what I suppose will eventually resemble a novel, and I'm struggling with writing a key female character in a way that makes her competent, but not a girl boss. Any tips? I feel like I've answered that one already. That's a weird one. Yeah, I don't know if that's come up on a previous open bar as well. It sounds oddly familiar, but my advice would be the same now as it was then. Like, just give her some flaws, have her make mistakes occasionally, maybe make her an incomplete person at the beginning who has to go on a bit of a journey and grow better, stronger, and more capable, or more aware of herself. You know, you can make her competent without making her invincible. You know, show her make mistakes, show her get injured, show her get outwitted at some points and have to learn and apply that to what she does going forward, so she becomes better by the end. Same exact way you write any other character, you know? Sumitra Gush says, hey, Drinker, are you going to watch The Boogeyman? I might well do, yeah. Krista Gomez says, can you do a review of Apocalypto? Oh, yeah, I could actually. Yeah. I feel like compared to Passion of the Christ, you know, that Apocalypto just didn't get all that much attention, either back in the day or now. People have just kind of forgotten about it, which is kind of a shame. It's a pretty decent movie. Jeremy Johnson says, what new PC parts did you get? I got a whole new PC. Like, I started off just thinking, right, I'm going to get a new processor to speed things up a little bit. And then, you know, you start looking at it and it's like, well, okay, if I'm going to get a new processor, I probably need a new motherboard because it's not really going to be compatible. And if you get a new motherboard, you're probably going to want updated RAM as well, because otherwise you're going to have, like, you know, previous generation of memory trying to integrate with like a current generation motherboard, and it's not going to run very efficiently. And the graphics card was pretty like weak to begin with anyway. So by the time you've done all that, you might as well just get a new case and just get a new PC. You know, like that's what you're ending up with, and it's more cost efficient. So yeah, it's a whole new computer. Hence the reason I wanted to make sure it actually worked properly and it can do live streaming. So that's why I did my little stream, to make sure we can iron out all these technical problems. Especially I think when you plug in like all this audio visual equipment, like the microphone, the camera and stuff, like, okay, does it detect it? Does it function okay? Does my audio come through okay? I needed to make sure all that stuff worked. Maverick Christian says, thanks for reading this super chat on your channel. It's a pleasure to read it. Hugh Greentree says, Drinker, have you seen Violent Night? When a group of mercenaries attack the estate of a wealthy family, Santa Claus must step in and save the day and Christmas. I have seen it. Yeah, it's really good. I had a good fun with that. I kind of missed it at the time, and so it didn't feel appropriate to review a Christmas movie like after Christmas. So it's just kind of like fallen by the wayside. But I had fun with it. It was good. Talon Lloyd says, thoughts on the Mass Effect series? I mean, I've only played one of them and I didn't complete it, so I feel guilty for that. But apparently they're remaking them anyway, so probably that's a good opportunity for me to get into them. They're meant to be incredible though, so yeah. One day I will play them properly. Um, Casper says, "What is your favorite review so far?" Hello from Sweden. So what my favorite review that I've done? Um, God, good question. I did surprisingly long reviews because I'm not really known for like being a long man. But by my standards, I think I did reviews for Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I think they were about 20-25 minutes each. Like I kind of went into a lot of depth breaking down the problems with them. And I think they were really well received. And yeah, I'm quite proud of the work I did on that. It took quite a while, but I think it turned out really good. So yeah, I think those two would be my favorites. There's been a lot of ones where it's like short ones where I've just had a bit of fun, if it's some dumb thing that someone said or, a weird decision that a studio's made. Sometimes it's like, well, there's not much in-depth analysis I need to do on this one. It's more just let's have a bit of fun with it and have a bit of a laugh. So there's been plenty like that. Um, but yeah. Um, Gunner Station says thoughts on Richard Madden potentially being cast as Bond. Left Game of Thrones and Marvel at the right time. Yeah, I mean, I'd take Richard Madden as Bond. I think he's okay. Um, I really like Aaron Taylor Johnson after seeing him in Bullet Train. I think he's got the swagger, he's got the confidence. He seems to have the physique as well. He's a pretty big guy. And yeah, either of those guys I think would be fine. I'm hearing a lot of rumors that they're not going to cast a white actor as Bond. There was weird announcements coming out or rumors saying that the next Bond will not be white, but I'll believe it when I see it, I suppose. But yeah, either of those guys would be good picks. And of course, there's Henry Cavill, which they won't fucking cast because it would make too much sense, obviously. Christian Wolf says, any cautious optimism for Alien Romulus? Nope. Stop with the Alien movies. I don't want any more. The Warped Eyebrow says, what was the inspiration for starting your channel? Well, I mean, back in the day, I started it just because I just was interested in making videos. Like, it's pretty simple, but I was interested in the whole process of video editing and, recording footage, putting in clips, different audio tracks, music, whatever it might be. I just thought it would be kind of fun. And so, I like the idea as well of giving my thoughts on things like reviewing stuff. And so, yeah, I just thought I'll give it a little try. And this was, damn, back in the early days of YouTube. You'd be talking like 2010 or something. So, a really long time ago. And yeah, it was a different landscape back then. I never saw it as like a career or anything like that. It was just a bit of fun, something I was interested in doing. Obviously, it's changed into something very different in the years since. Like I said to various other people, I started my channel way back then. I was also writing novels and I got my first publishing deal. So I kind of knocked YouTube on the head for a long time because I thought I just want to concentrate on writing books. That's my career now. And yeah, it was only probably 2019, I think I started getting back into it, and it was partly because movies were just getting really shit, and I wanted to give my thoughts on that, and well, that's when it really took off, and it turned out that was a good decision. I'm kind of glad I didn't delete my YouTube channel from way back when. So yeah, it's funny how things work out, I guess. Who knows if I'd stuck with it way back then. Would it have become successful? Would it had a video go viral or something and really take off, or would it just chugged along, not really, hitting that wave? You never know, but yeah, I'm glad it's worked out now. Kung Fu Hot Dog says, Drinker, you sexy beast, do you edit your videos, and what will you do when you hit 2 million subs? It's gonna happen. Gonna have some Glenn Morangi. Good choice, man. Yeah, yes, I do edit my own videos, which is probably why they don't look like as slick and professional as some of my comrades. Because I like to just do it myself, I guess. I'm pretty like unpredictable about when I create a new video. Like it might just be I have an idea, I want to make it like right there and then, so I don't have to worry about finding someone or having a guy on retainer or something just on standby. Because you employ people, they've got to be paid, they've got to have timetables so that they can schedule other tasks in. And I just didn't want to be lumbered with all those problems, so I do it myself. But I do the best I can, humble me. you know, like I say, they're not the slickest ever, but hopefully they get the job done. But what was the other question? Oh yeah, when I hit 2 million subs, crack open the champagne, have a little celebration, I guess. I'll do a little live stream to celebrate it. I mean, I think I'm at, I don't know, 1.7 million right now. Might hit 2 million this year. It's going to be, it's a bit marginal, but we'll see. Yeah, if it happens, it happens. You know, I'm not like watching my sub count every day or anything, and you know, trying to get to a certain point by a certain time. And just enjoy it as it goes, I suppose. Nate Thurlow says thoughts on the female-centric Office reboot. That's got failure written all over it. I just think, why now? Why like 20 years after the original Office would you decide to do a reboot of it? What interest is there going to be at this point? Like the American Office came along at a good time, just a few years after the British one. The enthusiasm was still there, and they did a really good job with it. Doing this now after so long, yeah, I don't see where the interest is going to be. And yeah, it's the most tired and predictable of cliches ever. That hey, we're going to do the exact same thing as before, but with women. It's like it's not going to make it any funnier. It's not going to make it any more entertaining or better. It's just at best, it's just going to be the same thing that people have seen already. What's the point? So yeah, I don't imagine great things will come out of that. ACP says your video and audio is out of sync, man. It has been ever since you messed with it. Yeah, I think that's probably the problem. I think at one point I switched the audio devices and it probably fucked everything up. So that's my bad. You know, I should never mess with the audio devices when I'm in the middle of a live stream. But it was worth a try just to test things. But I think we've got things settled down now. Finlay Welburn says, have you seen Naked Lunch by David Cronenberg? Yeah, I think it was all right. Yeah, I'm not normally like a massive fan of David Cronenberg movies, but you know he does body horror pretty good. So yeah, decent stuff. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch says, I'm so used to open bar that it's kind of jarring on your solo streams when Mauler isn't there making noises during the quiet moments. Cheers. The problem is, right, Mauler is used to the wonderful world of Discord, where I think your microphones or the microphones there can filter out like ambient noises, like you munching on food or like the click of keys or whatever. You don't get that luxury on StreamYard, so StreamYard hears everything. And yeah, he's learning his lesson though. We had one absolutely terrible Superchat Catchup where my internet was fucked and he was munching on a bag of crisps or something. What a joy it must have been for our viewers. I'm really sorry. This is just the wonderful world of YouTube, I suppose. Sometimes things go wrong. All right, next one is Rusty Fuel, who says, ever do a review of Seven Samurai? No, not yet. But I mean, well, when you talk about classic movies, it doesn't get much more classic than that, you know. Akira Kurosawa knew what he was doing, funnily enough. So yeah, fantastic movie. It'd be great to review it sometime. Diano says, what do you think the odds are that any character in Fast X is dead? Well, I can tell you. Yeah, I'm willing to bet that the people that have supposedly died, they can be brought back to life. I've seen people survive worse, if you know what I mean. I mean, there's a person who comes back to life at the end of Fast 10 in a little like post-credits scene, or I think the very last scene of the movie, and it's like, what the fuck? How did this come about? So yeah, no one's truly gone unless you've seen their corpse get buried. So yeah, I imagine these people will come back. Valentine Deegan says, have you seen Mad Heidi? Cheers from Switzerland. I've never seen Mad Heidi, I'm afraid. Sorry, man. Shirogami says, try this Connemara, a peated Irish single malt. All right, nice. Millen says, come to Argentina. Our economy sucks, but the whiskies are on me. Nice. Count me in. Open Bar Gaming says, hey mate, just wondered if you've watched an Australian TV series called Mr. In Between. You'll love it. Yeah, I've heard really good things about Mr. In Between. Haven't got around to seeing it yet, but yeah, nothing but praise apparently for it, so I'll give it a go. Keith Betterly says, "Have you seen the menu? Would love to hear your take on it." No, Muller and I were just talking about this the other night. Actually, he's seen it. He's interested to hear my thoughts on it. So yeah, I will give that a watch, and yeah, I'll let you know. Um, Caveman Dave says, "Dog Soldiers is the UK's Predator." It really is. It's great. It's low budget, pretty simplistic action for the most part, but it's mostly practical effects, and it's got a great cast. So yeah, I think that's a great comparison. Kyle Byrd says, "Went to that same club in Prague where I studied abroad. I got drunk with some Scots from Shetland. Definitely a maze, but damn, that was fun." Nice. I wish I knew what it was called. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can find it. Assuming it's even still open. In Prague. All right. Boy, apologies for the clicking. Right. I think they might have changed the name of it because this is not what it was called last time when I was there, but it's now called Carla V Lasney. But there you go. Yeah, it's quite the place. They've got this really cool. I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like a hologram as well, like in one of the main atriums, where it's like a kind of mist getting filtered down from a dispenser above, and then lights and stuff projected onto it, so it creates like a 3D image that you can like walk straight through. It's awesome, but man, it messes with your head when you've had a few drinks, like. But yeah, very cool place. Um, Winky Wanky Woo says audio and video are out of sync. Yeah, hopefully we fixed that now. SSG Omega says, "I watched X-Men Days of Future Past recently. I forgot how amazing that movie is. What's your thoughts on it? That and Logan are my favorite comic book movies." Yeah, I agree. X-Men Days of Future Past is brilliant. I think they really redeemed the franchise with that one. It's just the X-Men movies were this wild ride, man, where it was constant like up and down. Like you get one good movie and then it would be a shit one, and then they'd recover and make another good one. So it was like constant course correction. I've always said the X-Men franchise was like this weird prototype for the MCU. Like the MCU learned a lot of lessons for that from the X-Men movies, mostly how not to do things. But they blazed the trail. They had their sort of cinematic universe um, up and running like years before Marvel started theirs. And yeah, I think Days of Future Past is a good example. It undid a lot of the problems or the fuck ups of Last Stand, and yeah, Hugh Jackman was just awesome in it. So it was nice to see. It's just a shame it didn't last. DK79 says, "Did you watch The Black Phone last year? Thoughts if so?" No, I never saw The Black Phone. I'm sorry. Um, Dale Newson says, "Half a pint just to appreciate you dealing with the insanity of this live stream." How's the film, man? Yeah, sorry, man. Like I was saying earlier, we had technical problems, but hopefully they're resolved now. And yeah, as for the film, doing great. It's very very busy at the moment. Yeah, this is where lots of people start getting involved. They're bringing in all kinds of production people, the people that are going to be doing like the lighting, the camera work, all that stuff. Like all that stuff has to be brought in to make up this production. And so that's underway as we speak. And the plan is that we're going to start shooting sort of mid to late July. So not long now, really. And I'm hopefully going to fly out to Canada where they're shooting it, so I can see some of it get done as well. So yeah, very much looking forward to it. And then once it's all done, I think filming wraps in August, and then there'll be a few months of post production, editing, VFX, all that good stuff, and then it should be out by the end of the year, really. Which I appreciate. It's quite a while because we ran the Kickstarter in at the end of last year. But this is the reality of making a film. It takes time, I suppose. But yeah, the hope is if this does well and it gets good reception, then it opens the door for us doing a feature film next year. So that's the hope. We'll see how it goes. Kai says, "Drinker, you connoisseur of movie culture, what do you think about Lost in Translation?" It's a good movie. It's charming. Scarlett Johansson's good in it. Bill Murray's really good in it. Yeah, I like the relationship between them. It deals with a lot of interesting stuff about the generational gap, just I guess losing your way in a crazy world of show business and foreign cities, and you know I guess trying to reconnect with someone and have something meaningful in a quite a foreign land. So yeah, I think Bill Murray played it really well in that, and it's a good movie overall. Um, Geek Factor says, "Morning, drinker. I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there a chance of a VIP lounge stream with your patrons anytime soon?" Uh, I don't think you mean a VIP lounge. I guess you just mean like a private stream, like for the Patreon people. Yes, there's a very good chance of that actually. In fact, I would probably say next week we'll do one. So yeah, it's been a little while since we did the last one. We did one with like a private one for the Patreon and for the Kickstarter people for talking to some of the production guys on my movie. So there is that, but yeah, I can do one just for the Patreon guys. So yeah, we can get one very, very soon. Patient Elijah says, use Google to translate. Okay. Okay. Right. I'm going to have to run this one through Google Translate. All right. This should be interesting. Okay. Hey, Drinker. First, I saw on your Twitter that you have a notebook where you put all the content that your reviewers have asked you to look at. Okay, and then there's a part 2. So, let me just put this in as well. And then, do you keep this notebook with you and jot down new recommendations while reading super chats? Second, have you ever watched House of Cards? Okay, so normally what I'll do is I can either like remember a lot of the recommendations, or they'll probably have come in already, or yeah, like a lot of the time when I do open bars and things like that, I'll rewatch the stream anyway because I'm going to be cutting out clips to use on like the drinkers. I can't remember what you call it, drinkers chasers, and so I usually get all that stuff anyway. Like I'll see it on the playthrough, and then I can just jot things down that way. But yeah, it feels like 5 or 6 pages now. The number of recommendations I get is huge, and man, it just it makes me feel bad because obviously, like even in this stream that I've been doing here, people have been asking me about movies or asking me to review certain films, and a lot of the time I have to say, well, I haven't seen that one yet, or I haven't reviewed it yet because I haven't had time, and it's unfortunate, but that's the reality of like having, I guess, quite a big audience that wants you to look at lots of different things. You just don't have enough time to do everything, and it's it's a shame, but I do my very best. Sierra 119 says, if you had to move to the United States, what state would you most like to live in? Texas, because they do barbecues there and they have lots of guns and it's warm and sunny and just seems like a good place to live. So probably Texas, I would think. Nazim Shanbur says, Mauler and Aziz are losing their minds trying to finish the horrendous new game called Lord of the Rings Golem. It's filled with clunky game mechanics, terrible dialogues, and bad graphics. Yeah, I've heard it. It's apparently one of the worst reviewed games of the year. I was actually just chatting with Az this morning, and he was showing me some footage from it where it's like where it's rendering characters off in the distance, but they're literally just sprites because you're not meant to get close enough to see them, and it's like such garbage graphics, but the system requirements for it are insane. It's like you need like an RTX 4060 or something to be able to even run it, and it's like looks like dog shit. The optimization must be something else on that game, man. But hey, at least it's fun to laugh at. John Goetz says, Drinker, if you like Ghibli movies, I recommend Makoto Shinkai films. Had a new film, Suzume, this year, but Your Name is probably his magnum opus. That movie just had me crying my dog died or something. I was so emotionally invested the first time around. Damn. Well, that's got to be a good one then. So Your Name. All right. Too Tired says, as a game collector, I approve. Tell me your preferred physical copies too. Well, all of the Resident Evil games, which I think you probably can't see it very well because it's not lit up at the moment, but yeah, I've got like the original Resident Evil trilogy on the PS1 in my display cabinet. That's like my little shrine to Resident Evil. I've got all of the original Tomb Raider games for the PS1, Metal Gear Solids, some of them ported over to the PS2 and then the 3. So I've got all of them. So yeah, and Final Fantasy VII. I've still got my original physical copy of that, and it makes me very happy to play it occasionally. this? Okay, Michael Coates says, "Have you watched The West Wing? Amazing cast and writing." I watched bits and pieces of it, yeah, and yeah, I very much agree. Like, can't fault it. It was one of those like iconic shows, I guess. Tristan Tager says, "Great content, keep it up." Thank you, man. Bendy says, "Please read for my FOE. I am the real Bendy. Chop Suey is my cousin. You won't win, kitty." What? Okay. Kevin O'Neill says, "You find a magic lamp. Standard genie rules apply. No death, no love, no resurrection. What are the drinker's 3 wishes?" Oh, okay. Um, oh, I don't know. Um, I would I would undo all of the Star Wars movies that have been made in recent years. What else? It'd be easy to just say, "Oh yeah, $1 billion for everyone" or something. It doesn't seem very imaginative. I would make all alcohol free forever, which would be great. I'm sure that nothing bad would come of that. And last of all, um, man, oh, um, yeah, I'm not sure what my final wish would be. I'm gonna keep that one to myself for now. But yeah, those are those are the two I'd go for. Living Jar Cletus says, "Which novels should not be adapted? Unfilmables." I don't think anything's unfilmable necessarily. Yeah, for a long time, people suggested that No Country for Old Men couldn't be made into a film. I think it was stuck in development hell for a long time, but I think they made a pretty damn good film out of it. So yeah, same with The Roads. Like that was a pretty challenging book to adapt just because it's so bleak and so almost devoid of hope. But again, I think they did a really good job with it. So I think it can always be done. It's just finding the right people to do it. Mr. E says, "Thoughts on Cliff B's comment about you recently?" I don't know. Who's that? Um, yeah, I'm not sure who Cliff B is. Sorry. So I don't know what he's been saying about me. Algernon Sydney says, "Are you a Mission Impossible fan, and will you review the upcoming film Dead Reckoning?" Damn right I will. Yeah, I'm sorry that I've never really reviewed any of the other Mission Impossible movies because, they've obviously been going for so long. It's quite a daunting thing to start them and review them all. But yeah, like Fallout was fantastic. I'm sure Dead Reckoning will be equally good. I think they're one of the last great cinematic franchises that we've got going that's actually still good. So yeah, long may it continue, I suppose. Yeah, I'm very excited to watch it. Andrew Roberts says, "New fan here from California. Absolutely love your channel. Thanks for the laughs." Cheers, matey. Thank you very much. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. Northern English Bastard says, "Have you seen Guy Ritchie's The Covenant yet?" No, but that is on my list for sure because, yeah, I like Guy Ritchie stuff. Sierra119 says, I heard that Emperor Hadrian built the wall so that the Scots would be left alone to fight their mortal enemy, the Scots." Probably, yeah. I mean, when we've got no one else to fight, we end up fighting each other, so yeah. I can see why they didn't really want to conquer Scotland anyway. I mean, the people are pretty hard to fight, and what you're going to actually conquer, like, it's just a bleak wasteland. So, poor Romans, I can see why they were turned away by it. Wolfbane Fire says, "Have you done a video on Commando?" I've done a happy hour on it with Az, I think, so we talked about it at length there and had a great laugh with it. Love Commando. Hikira says, "Did you ever notice Fringy was the one guest you didn't introduce during Open Bar 50? Oh, did I not? It might have been just like there was a bit of a rush of people in that case. I think maybe he came in like while I was introducing other people, and so like we were in the middle of a conversation by that point, and just we brought him in. I'm sorry he didn't get the introduction he deserved, but yeah, it was good to have him on anyway. Algernon Sydney actually it just reminded me. The other night, when we did last week's open bar, Razorfist came in like 5 or 10 minutes late, and I don't think I introduced him at all. I just plonked him into the stream. It's just, again, we'd done the whole intro bit, and I brought everyone else in, and we're in the middle of talking about something, so it would have just been weird to like stop everything and be like, "Hey, let's now introduce Razorfist," and spend like 5 minutes bantering with him before we carry on. So, yeah, it's the way live streams happen sometimes. Algernon Sydney says, "Have you ever seen the latest adaptation of The Three Musketeers with Eva Green? Because if not, I thoroughly recommend it." I mean, I've seen about 10 Three Musketeers movies. Like, there's been a lot of them. I don't remember one with Eva Green, though. But, well, it would be quite nice to watch it because she's always a pleasure to watch. Anna Marie Evans says, what's your favourite whiskey? Right now it's either Highland Park or Lagavulin. Both of them are great whiskies. Ashernobog says, surprised you haven't watched Ted Lasso. Absolutely top class TV. If you ever do, please add me to the list for a chat. I have lots to say about the Lasso. Yeah, I mean, like with most things, it's not that I don't want to watch it. It's just finding the time, you know. Jor says, you collect a lot of figures? I love hot toys. Haha. I don't have a lot. Like, what you see behind me is all I have. And there's only 4 of them, really. Like, there's a couple of smaller figures at the bottom there, but, like, they're not hot toys ones. But yeah, like, I don't have entire rooms full of this stuff. It's just nice things to put on display, like in the background. And I've got my pulse rifle up there. I've got my Iron Man head, which is quite cool actually. I bought that at the convention in Atlanta. It's like made of like actual steel, and the eyes light up and stuff. So very nice. Disco Cobra says, I tried to donate to your project a while back, but it didn't let me for some reason. Not sure if any of this money goes to the project, but here it is. More to do whatever you use it for. Do you play many games? What are you playing right now? Well, first up, thanks for the donation, my friend. It was very generous of you, and I appreciate it. As for what games I'm playing right now, I'm just kind of messing around with Resident Evil 4 Remake. Like, I completed it, and then I'm just like doing like extra game plus mode, just to dick around with it. So that's all I've got at the moment. With my mates, I play Modern Warfare 2 just for the online stuff. The Rebirth Resurgence is pretty good fun still, and yeah, a lot of the multiplayer maps are still pretty decent. So yeah, it's fun to just play with your mates online with a few beers. You know, it's a nice stress relief. And Kevin says, hello sir, I would like to know how much your liver hates you after reviewing a bunch of bad movies. A lot. The liver pain gets more each time. It's like, oh, I should probably stop for a little while, let it recover a little bit. There's just so many bad ones, what can I say? But yeah, anyway, guys, that was the last of the super chats there. I think this stream or this recording's all right in terms of audio and video. Hopefully everything lines up properly. Thank you, like I said before, for all the generous super chats that you guys sent. Like I say, it was a bit of an informal stream last night just to iron out a few tech issues, but you know, you guys were super enthusiastic, and you were able to bear with me while I screwed things up technically. But yeah, fingers crossed everything will be okay for Open Bar this evening, and I'll see you there hopefully. But that's all I've got for today, so go away now.